When I was young, I'd listen to the radio, waiting for my favorite songs. You can sing it. When they played, I'd sing along. It made me smile. Those were such happy times. And not so long ago, how I'd wondered where they'd gone. But they're back again, just like a long-lost friend. All the songs I'd loved so well. I heard this classic Carpenter's song from 1973 just the other day. I'm still learning the melody, truth be told, while I was getting my son Leo ready for the day. I had been looking for the right song to capture just how I was feeling about the Song of Songs, and there it was. When they get to the part where he's breaking her heart, it can really make me cry, just like before, it's yesterday once more. I've always understood on some logical level why the Jewish community traditionally recites the Song of Songs on Passover, and it's most clearly embodied in one of the most famous verses, Ana dodi ve'amar li, kumi lach, rayati yafati, ulchi lach, ki hine hastav avar, hageshem chalaf, halach lo. My beloved spoke so to me, arise, my darling, my fair one, come away. For now the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. The blossoms have appeared in the land. The time of singing has come. The song celebrates both the renewal of spring and the sensuality of love, just as the Passover festival celebrates the renewal of the Jewish people. And indeed, the 1st of Nisan marks the first month on the Jewish calendar. I've also taken for granted the traditional reading of the song as an allegory for the love between God and all of us. Passover is the period of mutual infatuation and courtship which leads to the wedding at Mount Sinai, which we mark in 50 days from Passover on Shavuot. And it's only this year that I really started looking at the depth of this allegory. The ancient rabbis' reading of the Song of Songs was compiled in a 7th century collection of commentaries known as Shir HaShirim Rabbah. The rabbis mine the song's every verse for hidden meaning, making connections throughout the entire Hebrew Bible. And read through our ancient teachers' eyes, the song is no frivolous pop tune. As Rabbi Blake taught us just a moment ago, that Rabbi Akiva famously declared that there is no day in the history of the world like the day that the Song of Songs was given. Why? It is because all the writings are holy, yet this is the Holy of Holies. This is the inner sanctum of the Holy Sanctuary. Judith Cates, the professor of women's studies at Hebrew College, teaches that Akiva's comparison between the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, and Holy of Holies, Kodesh Kodashim, is profound. In her words, his language for the song summons the physically destroyed, yet always present and potent innermost core of holiness, guarded in secret, yet both containing and radiating outward the most intense manifestation of the presence of God in the midst of the world. So, to compose a sentence like that, in less profound terms, in my words, when we enter the Song of Songs then, it's as though we are entering into the Holy of Holies. The rabbis believed that the song sings the entire history of the Jewish people, from degradation in and redemption from Egypt, to revelation at Sinai, to our entry into the Promised Land, to our exile from that Promised Land, into our own time here today, far, far into the future. Let's return just for a moment to the verses that I just recited. Arise, my darling, my fair one, come away. For now the winter has passed, the rains are over and gone. The blossoms have appeared in the land, the time for singing has come. In these verses alone, come away, l'chilach, refers to Abraham and Sarah. for the winter has passed refers to the period of slavery. The blossoms are none other than Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, and the time of singing is, of course, the Song of the Sea, Mi Chamocha. It goes further. Through their creative and their virtuosic reading, these teachers recast the winter as the children of Israel's wandering in the desert, their exile at the hand of the Babylonians, and the final exile, in which we're all technically in right now, that will only be ended by the Messianic era that will be heralded, as we sang in our Seders, by the prophet Elijah. From the rabbi's perspective, every age continues to be part of the great love story of God and the children of Israel, and the soundtrack of that relationship, the Song of Songs, is our song too. And through the song, just like before, it's yesterday once more. The rabbis are articulating something that any music lover knows, that any time we play that record, we play that memory. The cognitive neurologist Andrew Budson calls it musical time travel. Music, he says, accesses episodic memory, which can transport us back in time to a specific event or time period. This particular memory is so powerful that it can often withstand the utterly devastating effects of dementia when our loved ones are robbed of their episodic memory. When we play the song again under new circumstances, it is as though we imprint new memories onto that record. Last night, Leo stayed awake just long enough for us to reach the 4 questions. I held him in my arms, and I chanted the questions on his behalf. And from now on, when I hear the 4 questions, I'll remember, yes, learning them as a child, but I'll also remember hearing them for on Leo's first Passover. Each year, we are taught that we must see ourselves as though we personally went forth from Egypt. And so we do the best that we can by play acting, by engaging our senses and our imaginations around the Seder table. But it's that song that is really meant to take us back into that mythic past, to feel the winter of oppression, and to fall as though for the very first time for the Jewish tradition and the community and our most prized values, to fall for the very first time for God, for hope. And yet, when we celebrate any type of anniversary, we don't actually return to the past. We revisit the moment filtered through our lives in the present, bringing with us all of the experience and perspective that has made us who we are in the moments and years since that most important milestone. And replaying that moment allows us to re-experience that feeling that is so easily buried by time, beneath stress and pain and fear. If only we could replay that feeling itself on demand to reinvigorate ourselves in the present, to sustain us in the face of all that would harden our hearts. We have the next best thing. We can replay the song. And so each Passover, we celebrate a timeless anniversary that was once the most important moment in our ancestors' lives. Every year, they renewed their vows to their community and to their God. And thousands of years later, our Seders take on new meaning as we imprint our memories onto our celebrations, but the core remains the same. We still begin the conversation for the child who does not know how to ask. We do this because of what God did for me when I went forth from Egypt. I believe that this is the great challenge, but also the great invitation of Passover. That although that we have to feel that this anniversary belongs as much to us as it did to our ancestors. And that although our future may feel as uncertain, as frightening as it must have been for that first generation, it can also be just as vibrant and as hopeful. Immediately, the words by the poet, author, and activist Muriel Rukeyser, written in 1944, came to my mind. Her words apply no less in the 21st century. To be a Jew in the 20th century is to be offered a gift. If you refuse, wishing to be invisible, you choose death of the spirit, the stone insanity. But the accepting wish, the whole and fertile spirit as guarantee for every human freedom suffering to be free, daring to live for the impossible. Chag Sameach, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.